Hey, welcome back to the Rethinking Youth Ministry podcast. One of our favorite things to do is hear from leaders like you about what you're rethinking in youth ministry. And today, we get to hear from our friend Phil in Gainesville, Florida. Snap 'em Gators. I don't even know what it is. About what he's rethinking in youth ministry. Check it out.
Hey, this is Phillip at Anthem Church in Gainesville, Florida, and we are rethinking how we can best equip our small group leaders to walk alongside their students outside of our student ministry experience that takes place on a Sunday. The reason we're rethinking that is we have students in certain groups that drive almost an hour from where they live to be in our student environment. A lot of our groups, the students attend different schools, play on different sports teams, and they're on different clubs. And we want to make sure that the connection and the community that's happening during our student ministry is also continuing to happen throughout the week.
Wow, that is so good. I love that. And I have so many questions for Phil. I'm wondering, what do you all think when you hear that he's rethinking that?
One of the things that first came to mind was remove all the barriers. Mm-hmm. Like if you have leaders who need resources, give them gift cards to like a local restaurant that students love to be at.
Yeah.
So that gives them time and resources to go there and be with them.
Oh, that's good.
But the driving an hour.
Yeah, that's committed. I love that.
Yeah.
That's a culture right there.
Yeah.
I'm thinking about you when Phil was talking because I know you have kids who are super involved in sports. What would it mean to you for a small group leader to show up at like one of their games or something like that?
It would mean a ton. And I think part of it is just being really intentional, like coaches asking or like the small group leader asking for like schedules and looking at opportunities where there's like a rivalry game with that community and making sure that small group leader knows that's happening on a certain day and putting it on their radar.
Oh yeah, that's so good. That's actually really good. It makes me think, Caitlin, like as a youth pastor, how can you equip volunteers to show up randomly like Philip's talking about?
I think one, like you have to model it yourself first. So you have to be willing to go out there and show up for the students also, but constantly encouraging the leaders to get a schedule from the students of what's going on extracurricular wise, whether it's sports or plays or whatever that is. But then just helping them put together like a calendar. I think something that'd be great is like you put together a calendar of the different events for the different schools and you know your leader's got a kid at that school and you tell them like, hey, this Friday so-and-so's got a game. It's at 5:30. If you can be there, I know it'd mean a lot to them.
Yeah. So in Philip's scenario, some volunteers are driving from an hour away. Let's just imagine volunteers are busy. Maybe they live at a distance. What are some ways that you're rethinking how volunteers can connect outside of just showing up in physical proximity?
Okay, so I have an idea, but I don't know if this is going to derail his programming. But because of everybody driving such a distance, why don't we press pause on programming and the small group leaders take the students and go out and do something fun that night when they're all there in the same location?
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, I love that a lot. What do y'all think?
I think that's great. I think also another thing that you can do if you can't be there physically is send them notes of encouragement. If you know they've got a big game coming up, send them a little card in the mail. I mean, I know students don't get a ton of mail these days, but it means a lot to get something in handwriting from your leader knowing that, hey, they know I've got this coming up and they're cheering for me from afar or they're praying for me, that kind of thing.
Yeah, that's so good.
And I just think also being really intentional about how you build your small groups. So if you know kids are coming from a certain area and just find the volunteer that lives in that community and being really intentional about how you form those groups.
I love that because then you're building, your volunteer team is collectively investing. Like, yes, small group leaders, but it could be a different volunteer who's a part of the ministry and can show up for those students. I still believe in the power of the group message. Like there's still something about that. Like I know we can send group messages and people don't respond or whatever, but even just showing up regularly or dropping some encouragement or when you know that game's happening or that test is coming up to drop it in there that you're thinking about them and praying for them can be showing up for them in some ways too. Phillip, that was amazing. And we would love to actually hear what you're rethinking when it comes to youth ministry. Maybe it's what you're rethinking and how to empower volunteers to show up randomly. You can DM us at Orange Students. Let us know your thoughts. And I don't know, maybe we'll have a conversation about them here on the Rethinking Youth Ministry podcast.